Someone, either the killer or Mundy, had written Azil on the wall in blood. Mundy's blood, presumably. I had no idea what it meant. Looking closely at the frayed rope hanging from the rafters, I knew that Mundy had been tied up by the legs and then hung from the ceiling. I didn't know why. Frankly, I wondered if I really wanted to know why. Something very strange was going on. Mundy's corpse wasn't very attractive. I wasn't looking forward to telling Carlotta how Mundy died. Mundy's killer had tied his legs together with my rope. It was bad enough that he stole my rope without implicating me in a gruesome murder at the same time. Nothing. There should have been something in the boots, only there wasn't. I was pretty sure that the watch didn't search them, and that didn't leave many options. The frayed rope in the rafters was the same as the rope around Mundy's legs. The rope that used to be tied to the grapple. That had to mean that Mundy was hung upside down and then killed. And that meant someone cut him down after he was killed. Curiouser and curiouser. They say that the universe is full of particles called inspirations. One of them hit me at that moment because I suddenly realized something that should have been obvious. If Mundy was hung upside down, and if Mundy wrote the message, then the message was upside down. Turning it around in my head, I could see that it read 3712V. It wasn't a meaningless word after all. It was a meaningless combination of letters and numbers instead. Somehow that seemed much, much worse. The bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting. How does it feel to be a suspect, Mankin? What? You're an obvious choice of suspect because you called the watch. You were the first on the scene. Round here, that means it's practically a closed case. I don't see why. You were there when I got there. I was unconscious. Well, I heard a commotion. That's what made me check it out in the first place. Maybe Mundy managed to knock you out before he died. While he was tied and blind? Perhaps he said a particularly offensive word and I fainted. Well, I happen to know that the watch consider you a suspect. Well, don't forget that I know something that they don't. That you're a liar and you can't be trusted. Just because you can't trust me doesn't mean no one can trust me. So how do you think having a murder in one of your rooms is going to affect business? Pull in the goth crowd, do you think? Shut up, Lewton. I don't feel like engaging in small talk. Not with you, anyway. I've been thinking hard about Mundy's death, and there's something that doesn't add up. Oh, enthrall me with your erudite wisdom, great one. When Mundy was killed, he was hanging from the ceiling, but when the watch turned up, he was on the ground. Maybe the killer cut him down when he was dead. I don't think so. I think that message was written by Mundy, and I don't think the killer saw him write it, which means someone must have cut him down. Somebody who was in that room cut Mundy down. I don't think it was the killer, and I know it wasn't me. What are you getting at? You cut him down, didn't you? Why should I tell you? I've already told you. I don't think the killer would have cut him down. Which means if you cut him down, you're in the clear. All right, yeah, so I cut him down. Happy now? Why? Not everything has a reason, Lewton. But people can usually find reasons for what they do. Well, draw your own conclusions. I was missing something, but I couldn't see what. You cut down Mundy so you could search him, didn't you? What are you suggesting? Nothing worse than the truth. You're a liar and a thief. All right, Lewton. What is it you want? What have I got to do to get you to leave? Just give me what you found in Mundy's boot, and I'll leave you alone. Here, you want it? Have it. It's worthless anyway. What is it? How the hell should I know? Now, I kept my end of the bargain. You keep yours. Leave me alone. We'll see, Mencken. I figure I owe you at least one lie. Get out, Lewton. In my own time, Mencken had given me a small coin, but it wasn't any type of coin I recognized. I guess I should be grateful to the half-elf for keeping the clue away from the watch, but frankly, I just didn't like the little weasel. I need to speak with Sapphire. Try and imagine how much I care. Look, is she here or not? She's in her dressing room. That's all for now. Always a pleasure. Based upon the real truth, the King of Ankh-Morpork's most boring play. Learn the ancient mystic art of the Path of the Scorpion. Unique mail-order lessons on this famous self-defense method by Grand Master Lobsang Dibbler. Missing. Small dog. Answers to the name of Mr. Huggy. It's really impolite to walk into a room without knocking, but who knows what you miss out on when you take the time to knock. Sapphire had a pile of money in her room, and I was glad I hadn't given her an opportunity to hide it.
Lewton, you startled me. Didn't Mother tell you not to walk into rooms unannounced?
Mother told me to walk into rooms with a crossbow. She was a sensible woman.
What you want?
That's quite a lot of money you've got.
What? Oh, yeah. Money, yeah.
Where'd you get it, Sapphire?
Oh, that. Well, see, I won it.
Won it?
Yes, at casino.
Which one?
Saturnalia. Sapphire go there often.
Really? Is it a good casino?
Oh, yeah. Good as casino get. You should go, Lewton.
Maybe I will. So, how have things been?
Things way they always been. Slow, dull.
But you've kept yourself amused, haven't you?
Don't know what you mean.
You lied to me, Sapphire. Strung me along with that Madame Lodestone story.
What? No. Sapphire told truth.
The troll in Madame Lodestone's grave wasn't Therma.
How you tell?
Malachite told me.
You trust him?
He's too stupid to lie, and you're too smart not to.
Sapphire not smart. Big dumb troll, like all the other trolls.
Don't play games, Sapphire. I know you're smarter than the average troll, although I could say the same about some mushrooms.
Look, Sapphire don't know why someone would switch bodies. Sapphire just trying to help.
She was lying to me. I could feel it. She was obviously hiding something, but it was apparent I needed to know more if I was going to worm it out of her. I'll be back.
That's what they all say.
I see Sir has returned.
Sir has.
Who would Sir like to see?
Is Carlotta home?
Alas, no. What a shame that Sir's trip has been wasted. Perhaps Sir would like to leave now.
Tell her I called by.
Why, my loins stir at the very thought of serving you in this way, Sir.
What can you tell me about the Count?
I regret to inform, Sir, that the Count's health has been in gradual decline and that he will probably not live to see the new year.
That's 5 months away.
Sir's grasp of mathematics dazzles me, Sir.
What's the problem?
Merely that, unlike Sir, I have not been blessed with a truly dizzying intellect.
With the Count, I mean.
The Count's health has been failing for some years now, but I believe he has never been so bad as since the loss of his one companion.
His companion? Who's that?
I fear that my idle tongue has already revealed too much of the Count's private affairs, and I would ask that Sir respect the Count's privacy, lest I be forced to provide Sir with a thick ear.
So, what can you tell me about this missing companion?
Why Sir believes that asking me again will yield any different answer is beyond my comprehension, and must therefore be a sign of the staggering intellectual advantage that Sir possesses over such a humble retainer.
Is the Count receiving guests?
No, but he will see you.
Ah, Lewton. I was hoping you would drop by.
You don't sound so good, Count.
I am not the man I used to be, that is certain. Past my prime, you might say. Yes, past my prime.
I could come back later if you want.
No, there is no guarantee that I will be getting any better. If anything, I might be worse.
Your health?
We are both men of the world, Mr. Lewton. I will not mince words with you. I am dying. I might last another year or so, or I might not last the week. And to think I thought Ankh-Morpork would be good for my health.
Not too many people would believe you, certainly.
Let us dispense with the pleasantries and get straight to business. Yes, straight to business.
Your interest in the Mundy case wouldn't have something to do with your missing companion, would it?
Why, Mr. Lewton, I'm impressed. You actually do have some detective skills.
What's the deal?
He was my friend. Perhaps my last friend. He was a dwarf of simple tastes, and when I was younger, he drove my carriage for me. These days, given that I am confined to the conservatory, I have no need for a driver, but I kept Regin on the payroll so that I should have someone to talk to.
When did he go missing?
3 days ago. He took the carriage out that night and has not been seen since.
And you thought Carlotta might have employed me to look for him?
I was hoping, yes.
You could always employ me to find him.
Wouldn't that be a conflict of interests?
I don't see why. Anyway, there isn't a conflict of interest that I know about that couldn't be solved with a generous cash settlement.
Be assured that if you can find Regin, I can offer you substantial recompense.
Then I'll see what I can do. The Count gave me an iconograph of Regin to help my investigations. My mind was already racing. 3 days ago, the Milka arrives. 3 days ago, Regin disappears. Now, I believe in coincidences. Coincidences happen every day. But I don't trust coincidences. Something deeper was going on here, and I was going to find out what. Because I can't stand a secret, and because I have a burning need to find the truth. But mostly, because there was a wad of money in it for me if I found out. I'll be back later.
I look forward to it.
Saturnalia was almost legendary. The upmarket casino was situated on the King's Way and was frequented by the rich members of Ankh's high society and hopeful social climbers from Morpork. It was a temple to pride, greed, and avarice. And like any temple, anyone with money was welcome. The last person I wanted to see was Death himself, waiting to take me to whatever hell awaits a failure like me. But after Death, Ilsa was a close second. My eyes were drawn to her the moment I entered the room, and I decided then and there that I wasn't going to talk to her. The next thing I remember, I was talking to her.
Hello, Lewton. Still mad at me?
As soon as I learn how to offer forgiveness, you'll be the first one to receive it.
This is my companion, Two Conkers.
Pleased to be meeting you. You are Remora Salachi. Not the last time I checked.
This is Lewton. He's an old friend of mine.
Why did he think I was Remora Salachi?
We're supposed to be meeting him here.
What do you want with an assassin like Remora?
What are you talking about?
I looked around to see Remora drawing a weapon. Assassins are damn good at what they do, but they're not allowed to kill innocent bystanders. I didn't know if it was bravery or stupidity, but I decided to stand between Remora and his target. Interrupting an assassin while he was working was a risky business. So I decided to ambush Remora with the old only answer questions with questions routine. Why did you try to kill that woman?
Why does any assassin try to kill someone?
Who put a contract out on Ilsa?
Don't you know better than to interfere in official guild business?
Why would anyone want to kill Ilsa?
Do you expect me to discuss a confidential case with you?
What do you want from me, Remora?
A swift death and a cheap funeral.
Ha! You lose! That wasn't a question, that was a statement. You're getting sloppy.
You're lucky we're only allowed to kill for money, because I'd take you out for free, Lewton.
I'd managed to embarrass Remora in front of a crowd of social notables, and that was bad news. It was bad enough that I had the watch breathing down my neck without the Assassin's Guild baying for my blood. Fortunately, there was nothing they could do to me unless someone paid for a contract on me. Actually, that wasn't strictly true. They could tie me up and torture me for days if they wanted to, just as long as I didn't die. It wasn't a comforting thought.
Who was the woman?
Carlotta, what are you doing here?
I like to take risks. Isn't that what life is for?
I've taken enough risks to last a lifetime.
You didn't answer my question, you know. Who was the woman?
Ilsa, why do you want to know? Jealous? Afraid you might have a rival?
All women are rivals, Lewton.
She's not important.
I see. If you decide to be honest with me, I'll be around.
It was the most unsettled I'd seen Carlotta get. I guess there was a heart in that cold chest after all. The woman's name is Ilsa. She and I used to be close. It's over.
Why are you telling me this?
I thought you might want to know.
How is the case going?
Badly. Mundy's dead.
Dead?
Yeah, dead. Murdered. And not a pretty sight. I'm sorry.
Don't be. I'll survive. You could have chosen a nicer way to tell me.
I thought you might appreciate me getting straight to the point. Do you want me to stay on the case?
Is there still a case?
I thought perhaps you might like to know who killed Mundy and why.
Yes, I owe him that. You can continue with the case, Lewton.
Do you want to know what happened with Mundy?
That's what I'm paying you for, isn't it?
Is it? I'm starting to wonder.
Don't you like me, Lewton?
What's not to like? You're a woman like any other.
Do you look down on all women, or just the ones you know?
I have plenty of distaste to go around. The person who killed Mundy hung him upside down and poked his eyes out. Can you think of any reason they might have done that?
What? No. Why should I?
Well, you knew Mundy. I didn't. I thought you might have an insight on it that I didn't. Did you kill Mundy?
What? What do you think I am, Lewton?
It's got nothing to do with what I think of you, Carlotta. But the Watch are investigating. And if they find out about your connection with Mundy, you're bound to be a suspect.
So why are you asking me if I did it?
Let's just call it professional curiosity.
If I had done it, would you turn me in?
That depends.
On what?
On why you did it.
You don't strike me as a moralist, Lewton.
I'm a simple man, Carlotta. I have simple ideas of what's right and what's wrong. The trouble is, things are seldom that simple. It's always somewhere in the middle ground. I try not to jump to conclusions. In my line of work, that can get you killed.
That must be a tremendous incentive to think everything through.
I do my best. You still haven't answered my question.
I didn't kill him, Lewton, if that's what you really want to know.
Do you have an alibi? I told her when the murder took place and asked her if she had an alibi. I wasn't surprised when she did. Frankly, I reckon I could have said any day and any time, and she'd have had an alibi. She was that kind of woman.
There are witnesses who can corroborate where I was.
And where were you?
I was in the Temple of Small Gods.
Spend a lot of time on your knees, do you, sister?
We all need a little absolution.
For your sins?
Everything I do is a sin in someone's eyes.
I've got things to do. I'll see you around, Carlotta. What's the game?
Truncheon. Interested, stranger?
The name's Lewton. What are the stakes?
Minimum stake is $1 a hand. House limit is 10,000 per hand.
I'm in. Here's my dollar.
Hey, big spender.
World told me how to play the game. Something to do with the major arcana and the private arcana. The major arcana had strange names like the Fool, the Pyrophant, and the unbelievable expense of a slice of cheese. Essentially, it seems I just had to stay under 21 and get as high as I could. It all seems pretty whimsical to me.
Mr. Whimsical World.
What happens in a tie?
I win.
That doesn't seem fair.
I'll note that down in the complaints book, shall I? Player thinks the odds might be stacked in favour of the house.
I didn't really know what I was doing, but I expected to lose my dollar anyway, so I didn't worry about it. But someone else at the table seemed pretty worked up about what I was doing.
That isn't the way to play it.
Why not?
Because it isn't the way to win.
Is there a way to win?
Well, there's a way to lose more slowly.
What's it to you?
I've seen enough losing. I don't want to see any more.
I only bet $1.
No, it's the principle of the thing.
What do you think?
I'm just a croupier. I'm not paid to think.
I lost my dollar. But I reckon I got value for money. And hey, the cards were pretty. Do you own this place?
Saturnalia? No, you gotta be kidding.
Who owns it?
I don't really know. Probably a whole group of people. For all I know, no one owns it, and it just keeps ticking over all on its own.
Is that likely?
Frankly, I don't really care. As long as I get paid, it's all the same to me.
Don't you have an inquisitive mind?
No, I find people with inquisitive minds don't live too long.
I was told that I'd find a certain troll's body in the Salachi Mausoleum. Only when I got there, it wasn't the right body. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
You went rooting around in the Salachi family mausoleum. Hey, leave me out of this, Lewton.
Do you know a troll named Sapphire?
Oh, I'm just a simple croupier. I wouldn't know anything important. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't give it away for nothing.
I guess you don't like to give away anything for free.
When you've worked in a casino as long as I have, you learn that you don't get anything for nothing.
Do you know what this is?
It looks like a purse.
I think I have something of yours in it.
Really? Oh yes, so you do. And what do you know, my memory is suddenly much improved.
I thought it might be. You know a troll named Sapphire, don't you?
Yeah, I know Sapphire. She's a good customer. Always plays with cash. Never wins anything. Some trolls aren't born lucky, I guess.
She never wins?
She wins a little, but she always loses it again. She can't hold on to money. Few people can in this place. By the time she walks out the doors, she's always a loser.
Is there any chance she could have won big and you wouldn't know about it?
If she won it here, I'd know about it.
Do you recognize the dwarf in this iconograph?
Sure, that's Reagan.
You know him?
He's a regular here at Saturnalia. He doesn't gamble much, but when he does, he wins. The rest of the time, he hangs around in the crowd.
Who does he talk to?
Hey, I don't spy on the customers.
Why not?
I have to keep my eyes on the tables.
When did you last see him?
It's been days, I think.
Anything else you can remember about him?
Yeah, he has a safety deposit box.
A deposit box?
A lot of valuables change hands here. Some people like to have somewhere safe to keep them.
But you say Reagan didn't gamble much.
But I don't know why he has a box, I just know that he has one.
Time to excuse myself from the table, I think. You seem to get worked up over my gambling.
I'm not as easygoing as I used to be.
You're a wizard?
Wow, you're sharp. What tipped you off? The gown? The arcane symbols?
Look, I just thought you might want to talk. You tried to help me at the table, and I thought I'd make amends for being so rude to you. Sorry I tried.
No, wait. I'm like, sorry, friend. It's just, I'm on edge.
The name's Lewton.
I'm sorry. We haven't been properly introduced. My name is Warb. B-L-L.
B-L-L?
Well, Bachelor of Eldritch Lace Making.
Eldritch lace making?
Don't ask.
You a regular in here, then?
I guess so. I'm not very lucky.
I thought all wizards were lucky.
Whatever gave you that impression? Do you know how many bizarre and unpleasant ways there are for a wizard to die inside the walls of Unseen University alone? One false invocation as you're summoning a demon, and bang! You're lunch for some pit fiend with more tentacles than legs and fewer arms than heads. Or spend too long in the wrong area of the library and poof, you disappear. All that you leave behind is a statistic.
Don't you like being a wizard? It always seemed like a glamorous profession to me.
There's nothing glamorous about wizardry. Well, except for glamours.
Glamours?
It's an elvish thing.
Well, thank you very much. If you're so unlucky, why do you come here?
I haven't lived a lucky life, but, well, I don't know. I guess I feel that in here, I at least have a chance.
But the odds are always stacked against you. The house always has the advantage.
Let me tell you something, Lewton. The house always has the advantage. Here, out there, it doesn't make any difference. At least in here, you know who the house is.
That's a pretty stark outlook.
Ever made a decision that affected your whole life? Ever done something that throws everything into question?
No, I don't feel in that much control of my life.
None of us are.
So you work up at Unseen University.
I was trained there. Once I got my degree, I moved on.
But you're still a wizard. I thought all you guys were under the jurisdiction of the university.
Yeah, I work for Unseen Securities now.
Unseen Securities?
Yeah, we make magical security systems. Very exclusive.
Are they expensive?
Oh, yeah. Hardly anyone can afford our services.
Maybe I'll see you later.
Come to persecute me some more, Lewton?
A man's gotta have a hobby. Where did Sapphire get all that money from?
Ha, ha, ha. You never give up, do you?
That's considered an asset in my line of work.
Just leave me alone, Lewton. I'm sick of the sight of you. I'm sick of talking to you. And I am sick of all your damn questions.
Look, you know I'm not gonna give up. Why not just pretend you've held out for a commendable length of time and finally cracked? It could be our little secret.
Lewton, if anyone starts saving up to get an assassin for you, let me know, will you? That's one cause I'd gladly give generously to.
In the meantime, what about Sapphire's money?
I didn't even know she had any money.
She claims to have won it over at the casino.
At Saturnalia? You've got to be kidding. If Sapphire had a big win, the whole town would know about it by now. No, I'd be prepared to bet it has something to do with whoever she met when she missed her shift.
Who did she meet?
I've no idea. All I know is she missed her shift because she had to meet someone.
Thanks for your help.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Lewton.
That's all for now.
Always a pleasure.
I've got some more questions for you, Sapphire.
Sapphire busy. Leave her alone.
I know about your problems.
Problems?
The debts. The huge losses. You're struggling just to keep your head above water. I bet you've had to make all kinds of nasty compromises just to keep yourself going.
What you talking about? Who been saying such things about me?
Does it matter?
It mattered to Sapphire.
All right. I heard it from Whirl, and he should know.
Huh, Whirl. He don't know everything goes on at Saturnalia.
I hear you had a mysterious meeting not too long ago. Not long after, you turn up with a lot of money. Sounds like an awfully big coincidence to me.
Stop harassing Sapphire. Already told Lewton. Won the money at Saturnalia.
Right. So, you won a lot of money at the casino.
Yes, already told ya. Big win.
You won big at the casino, but no one at the casino seems to remember you winning.
They lie. Sapphire won big.
And this mysterious meeting as well. You say that had nothing to do with the money.
Forget about meeting. Meeting not important.
Not important, eh? I think it is. I say you met with someone and they gave you the money. Someone who had something to hide. Someone who'd pay good money to keep it quiet. Who was it, Sapphire?
No one.
It wasn't no one who paid you, Sapphire. It was someone who was interested in me, wasn't it? Someone who didn't want me digging around after Therma. Why? What's so important that someone would pay you to cover up for them? Who is it?
No one.
You'd better tell me, because I'm going to find out one way or another. And if you don't tell me, when I find out who it is, I'll tell them you told me where to find them.
No, she'll kill me.
Who? Who'd kill you?
Therma. It was Therma. I been blackmailing Therma. She not want to be found.
Therma is still alive?
Yeah?
Good. Arrange a meeting with her for me.
What?
You heard me. Face it, Sapphire, your little scam is broken. If you want me to keep quiet about your little windfall, you're going to have to fix a meeting with Therma for me.
Therma won't do it.
Well, you'd better make her do it, because otherwise I'm going to go straight to the Guild of Thieves, Burglars, and Allied Trades to tell them about you. They don't take kindly to unlicensed blackmail.
You do that to me?
Look into my eyes and tell me if I'm bluffing.
All right. Give me some time. I'll leave message at your office when it arranged.
I look forward to it. It's a pleasure doing business with you, Sapphire.
You're a cold one, Lewton.
Not as cold as you, I reckon. I decided to leave Sapphire alone after that. I'd got what I wanted. Somehow, I wasn't surprised to find Al-Kali waiting for me in my office. In my head was a list of suspects for killing Mundy, and Al-Kali had gone straight in at number 1.
Mr. Lewton, I am so pleased to see you.
The feeling's not mutual, Al-Kali. What do you want?
All in good time, Mr. Lewton.
Why do I get a feeling that Al-Kali isn't your real name? It's not very dwarfish.
My name is of little consequence, Mr. Lewton, and the story of how I acquired it will have to wait for another time. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Now, why would you want to carry an axe?
To hack at people, Mr. Lewton. An axe is the weapon of choice for a dwarf, you should know that.
Why kill me now? What's the point?
I'm not planning to kill you, Mr. Lewton. I merely need the axe as a deterrent should you wish to try something foolish.
I don't try foolish things. Sometimes they just happen.
Then I suggest you don't let them happen now.
When you've finished searching me, I know a nice restaurant we can go to.
So, you have been a busy man, Mr. Lewton. I think you'd better come with me.
Is there an alternative?
That would depend on how attached you are to your arms and legs, and how much you want them to remain attached to you.
I didn't know where Al-Khali was taking me, but I was now sure he wasn't going to kill me. He could have done that in my office, and it would have been days before anyone found the body. No, he wanted me for something. I just didn't know what. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting to be taken to see a troll. I've seen some unusual things in my life, but a troll and a dwarf working together? That was something else. Ankh-Morpork wasn't hot at that time of year, but the big troll was sitting back in a wicker chair being fanned. Smart. Out of the cold of the mountains, overheating of their silicon brains was the reason for the trademark stupidity of the trolls. I'd have to watch my step with this one. Al-Khali had a brief whispered conversation with the troll, but I couldn't make out what was said. At one point, I thought I heard Al-Khali mention a coin from Sorta, but the rest was a mystery.
Mr. Lewton, so glad you could come and join us, and so punctually, too. Yes, I know you were escorted by Mr. Al-Khali here, but the fact that you arrived on time shows that you didn't put up any show of resistance, which means you're intelligent enough to realize that we are not your enemies. And since we are not enemies, there is always the possibility that we might be friends. You are a quiet man?
No, I like to talk, but I like to dance, too. And the trick in both is knowing when to lead and when to follow.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. I distrust a quiet man. He generally picks the wrong time to talk and says the wrong things. Talking is something you cannot do judiciously unless you keep in practice. I'll tell you right out. I'm a troll who likes talking to people who like to talk.
What shall we talk about?
What indeed do friends talk about?
Most friendships don't start out with one of the friends being led around by an axe-wielding dwarf. While we're at it, most people know the names of their friends.
Of course. How impolite of me. Mr. Al-Khali, I believe you already know. And my name is Jasper Horst. Perhaps you've heard of me.
I have a bad memory for names. It gets me into a lot of trouble.
You have a bad attitude as well. That also gets you into trouble.
Now, Mr. Al-Khali. It doesn't do to slander a guest, especially one whom you hope to count among your friends.
So, if we're friends, I guess Al-Khali's warning about staying off the Mundy case was just a friendly warning.
Straight to the point. I do admire a man who avoids skirting the issues. Such a man makes an excellent politician, but is almost impossible to trust. Well, sir, it seems you are now in the possession of something that we would like.
And what might that be?
Come now, sir. There's no need to play coy. We know you were the last person Mundy saw, and we know you have the coin from Sorter. Frankly, sir, we know you have the golden sword, and we wish to make an offer for it.
What if I told you it wasn't for sale?
Don't be tedious, Mr. Lewton. We obviously know that you are in the employ of Carlotta. Hence we know that you have a price. Whatever she is offering you, we can safely offer double. And unlike Carlotta, I am a troll of my word.
What if she's offering me something that you can't match?
You don't strike me as a man who would fall for Carlotta's moves, sir. You strike me as a man with better judgment than that. Are you loyal to Carlotta?
I am loyal to one person and one person alone. Me.
That's wonderful. I do like a man who isn't afraid to tell you that he is looking after himself.
We're all looking after ourselves.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. And I don't trust a man who says he's not.
Tell me about the golden sword, Horst.
Carlotta didn't tell you what it was?
Horst seemed to think I knew things that I didn't, and that could give me the advantage. I decided it was time for a good bluff. She told me, but I took it for granted she was lying.
A not injudicious thing to do.
Let's cut to the chase. How much will you pay me for the sword?
Suffice it to say, I will pay you its value.
That doesn't give me much to go on.
You will appreciate, sir, that a golden sword like that is a difficult artifact to sell. Indeed, you would draw a lot of attention were you to attempt to do so. I will offer you what the sword is worth, and that, I can assure you, is more than Carlotta is offering you.
I could use a figure.
I don't like to commit myself to fixed fees. Those who set exact price tags leave themselves no room to negotiate when the circumstances change. Rest assured that it will exceed $10,000 at the least.
10,000, eh? I'll think about it. Trust seems very important to you, Horst.
Indeed. Without trust, we are no better than barbarians. It is the capacity for trust that sets the humans, trolls, dwarfs, and such above the lesser animals.
That and our capacity for cruelty.
What a dark outlook you have, sir. Are you a pessimist?
Pessimism is a term used by optimists to attempt to discredit those who see the world as it really is.
You are a man of the world, sir. I like that about you.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Horst, but I have other things to do.
I trust you will keep in touch, sir. I look forward to hearing your decision.
You're letting him go?
Come now, Mr. Alcali. Mr. Lewton is our friend and associate. He is free to come and go as he pleases.
I'll let you know what I decide, Horst.
But of course, goodbye, Mr. Lewton. For now.
I was starting to piece together what was going on. Whatever this sword was, it was clear that Mundy brought it into town with him on the Milka. I guess he was the courier. For who, wasn't clear. He must have hidden it in one of the crates on the Milka and then broken into the warehouse to recover it. Only the watchman stopped him before he could retrieve it. None of which told me where the sword was, or even what the sword was. One thing was clear. I needed to talk to Carlotta. Still here?
Here's as good as anywhere.
I want to talk to you about something important.
Really? I can't wait.
Not here. It's too public.
Your place or mine?
Yours is probably safer.
Let's go.
We barely spoke at all on the way over, and there was a certain tension between us. Gods help me, I liked it.
Well, we're alone. What did you want to talk to me about?
You've got a lot of smooth moves, Carlotta. You've managed to string me along like a kitten.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you lying to me, sister. I'm talking about the way you used me to track down Mundy, and how you were planning to cut me out of the action when I found him.
You're paranoid, Lewton.
Oh, I know I'm paranoid. But just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean you're not a lying, thieving lowlife. Tell me about the golden sword.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you do. And so does Jasper Horst.
You spoke to Horst?
Yes, I spoke to Horst. And he seemed to think that I had possession of the sword. Apparently Mundy had it, only he died before he could deliver it. Horst thinks I killed him and took the sword.
I didn't want you to get involved, Lewton. It was too dangerous.
Don't pull the hysterical woman act on me, Carlotta. It won't work.
All right, you got me. I used you. Everybody uses everyone, Lewton. It's the way of things. Friendships are just what happens when you've used someone for so long, it becomes habitual.
You're a bitter little lady.
It's a bitter little world. What now?
You tell me everything.
Why?
Because you need me.
I don't need anyone.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? But even you aren't totally independent, Carlotta. You need the Count's money, for one. One word from me and I could get you cut off.
He wouldn't dare. He's too bound by tradition.
Perhaps, but can you really afford to take that chance?
What's the deal, Lewton?
Straight cut. I'll help you recover the sword. We split the profit.
You think you can trust me enough for that to work?
No, but this isn't about trust. It's about money. You don't trust me any more than you trust Horst. But I figure you'd work with him if it got you the money.
You're smart, Lewton, but you've got one thing wrong.
What's that?
I trust you more than I trust Horst.
Oh, I'm touched. But I reckon you'd trust a rattlesnake before you'd trust Horst.
You're a good judge of character.
Hang around with scum long enough and you learn to tell the different types of scum apart. Horst is the treacherous kind.
What about me?
You're just a woman, Carlotta, and that's not a compliment.
Why do you hate women so much?
I hate everyone and everything. No one gets special treatment. Now tell me the real story between you and Mundy.
Mundy wasn't my lover. He was my contact. He was supposed to be bringing the artifact in from Sota. But something went wrong on the way. I don't know what it was, but Mundy never made his rendezvous. I went with Reagan to the wharf to meet him, but he wasn't there.
Do you know where Reagan is now?
No, he dropped me at the Temple of Small Gods, and that's the last I saw of him.
Did he know what was going on?
Reagan? Ha! No, I never told him anything. Everything I told him would have gone straight to the Count.
Anything else you haven't told me?
I'm sure there's plenty of things I haven't told you. The girl's got to have some secrets.
You're trouble, Carlotta.
Admit it, Lewton. You like trouble.
What if I do?
I know what's going on inside of you, Lewton. You're just like any other man, only a little more so.
When she kissed me, fire burned in my veins and I felt alive. Have you ever kissed someone who you didn't know whether to love or to hate? Well, other than your parents. Not that I'm prying into your private life, just trying to get my point across. Something changed in me at that point, and I knew I'd never be the same again.
I guess we have a deal then.
With my brains and your looks, we could go places.
What about with my brains and your looks?
We could still go places. They just wouldn't be as nice. So, now we're working together, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
What like?
Anything you've kept back from me? Any lies you'd like to confess to, and secrets you're still hiding?
A girl's got to have some secrets, Lewton.
You must have known something about the Milka's cargo.
Yes, I had a crate amongst the cargo. It wasn't carrying anything important. It was just for Mundy to hide the sword in if it became necessary.
But the sword wasn't in the crate.
No, the last I saw of the crate, Reagan had it. I don't know where it is now.
Do you have anything that might help me find it?
I have a shipping order. You can have it if it's useful to you.
It could be. Any lead is a good one at the moment. I'll see you around, Carlotta.
I hope so.
Still here?
Not for much longer, I hope.
I showed Reagan's picture to the first mate, and he recognized it.
Yes, I think that was the dwarf who pulled up in a carriage shortly after we docked. I think he collected some of the cargo, too.
Do you remember which way he went?
He drove away upwards at high speed. I wouldn't be surprised if he caused an accident somewhere down the line.
Well, safe voyage, if that's possible. There was something about the way the other members of the Watch looked at me that let me know that no matter how innocent I was still stained with suspicion. Still, I'll take the stains of suspicion over the tarnish of guilt. Suspicion was easier to wash out. Sometimes I think I'd just give up and crawl inside a whiskey bottle. Except that you can only do that if you are less than 1 inch high. Doesn't look like I'm too welcome around here. Of course, I haven't been welcome here since I got kicked off the force, but at least then they just thought I was corrupt. Now they think I'm a murderer.
Nah, Lewton, you've got it all wrong. They don't think you're a murderer. They think...
That my personal hygiene is appalling?
No.
That I have the Klatchian plague?
No.
Face it, they think I'm a murderer.
You know, give me a minute, I'll think of something.
Nobby, you've never thought of something printable in your entire life. Why should you start now? Did anyone report a speeding carriage 3 days ago?
Funny you should ask that. Sergeant Colon was almost run down by a carriage 3 days ago. He's been going on about it ever since. Says we ought to have speed limits for carriages.
How would you tell what speed a carriage was going?
Well, a watchman's instincts are never wrong.
You could always go for a more preventative approach.
Like what?
Well, you could ban carriages altogether.
Yeah, that'd work.
Hey, you could go one step further. You could ban people from Ankh-Morpork, and then there'd be no crime at all.
Well, there'd still be the trolls and the dwarfs, and the gargoyles, and the gnomes, and the undead and the golems. Of course, the golems don't make much crime, and the gargoyles' only crime is Avicide. And it's not like we're short of pigeons. But the trolls and the dwarfs, well, I mean, they make as much crime as any of the humans, maybe even more.
It's no fun when it's this easy. Like shooting fish at a barrel.
Hey?
Never mind. About this carriage the other night. Where did Colon see it?
I think he said it was headed for the Magdalen Bridge.
It wasn't much of a lead, but at least it was something. Usually you could only get a lead out of Nobby with a scalpel. Well, I'm sure I'll be back.
Yeah, right, Lewton.
Some people will steal anything, and that includes me, it seems. The Magdalen Bridge was one of 10 bridges that linked the city of Ankh to the city of Morpork. It was an unremarkable structure, most famous for the number of suicides it attracted. The trouble with trying to drown yourself in the Ankh is that you're more likely to break a leg falling onto the thick crust of the river than actually come near any water. Still, if you were heavy enough, you could eventually sink into the depths. I can think of nicer ways to go, though, and much quicker ones, too. Something had clearly lost control on the bridge. Something with wheels. Beyond that, it was difficult to say. The railings had been damaged. There was no telling when they'd become damaged, though. It wasn't as if I came this way every day. I doubt many people did. There was something down there. I was sure of it. But I wasn't strong enough to pull it up. Well, I'm back. Listen carefully, Malachite. I've been patient with you, and you owe me a favor. I need you to use the grapple to pull something out of the river Ankh. I don't know for sure what it is, but it's big. Too big for me to lift. But you could do it, and I figure you owe me one.
Find Thelma!
All right, you big dumb troll. I'll carry on looking for Therma if you help me get this thing out of the river. Do we have a deal?
I pull thing. You find Thelma.
Yes? You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Or something. Whatever you want scratched, within reason.
Don't want scratching. Find Thelma.
Okay. You pull thing, I find Therma. Got it?
Need grapple.
That may be the first intelligent thing you've said to me. Ready now?
You lead.
With pleasure. I hadn't been able to move whatever it was in the river. Malachite pulled it up onto the bridge like it was made of paper. I wasn't surprised to learn it was Reagan's carriage, but it still wasn't clear how it ended up going off the bridge. Amidst the wreckage, I found a small ornamental box. But before I could examine it in detail, Malachite took an interest. I didn't want to give it to him, but he looked like he'd rupture a fault line if I didn't. He kept insisting that the box proved that Therma was alive, or at least that's my best interpretation of what he was trying to say. With his usual annoying habit, Malachite just walked off, taking the box with him. That left me to get back to my usual habit of not really knowing what was going on. There was no doubt that it was Reagan, and there was no doubt that he was dead. The poor sap must have suffocated in the Ankh. One thing had been bugging me since I'd found Reagan's body. In the iconograph that the Count had given me, Reagan was bald. Here, in the flesh, Reagan had a full head of hair. I had to pull hard on his toupee to get it off. Reagan must have glued it on to stop it from flying off as he drove the carriage. Underneath the toupee was a small key. I guess it must have been important, or he wouldn't have glued it to his head. I figured a really good private investigator could do a lot of painstaking research and work out which box belonged to Reagan. But I figured, hey, the guy's a dwarf. So I just tried all the lockers on the bottom row. It fitted into box 39 like a glove. Eventually. Inside was an envelope and a bracelet with carved wooden charms. The plot thickened, and you could already stand a spoon up in it.
I see Sir has returned.
Sir has?
Who would Sir like to see?
Is the Count receiving guests?
No, but he will see you.
I've got a few more questions for you, Count.
Yes, questions. Go on.
I'm afraid I have some bad news for you.
It's Reagan, isn't it? He's dead.
I'm afraid so. I found his carriage near the Magdalen Bridge. It must have lost control and skidded into the river. Reagan must have drowned, or suffocated. It's hard to say with a river like the Ankh.
Very well. Of course. I will pay you for your time. If you should hear anything else in connection with this case, please let me know. Otherwise, consider the case closed.
There is one thing. I think Reagan may have been involved with a troll singer named Therma. I'm not really sure about the details. I'm sort of investigating the Therma case at the moment. But since I'm not getting paid for it, I may have to give it up.
Indeed. How would you feel if I were to pay you for the Therma case and you continue to investigate it?
I'd feel a little bit richer and a lot happier.
Very well. It's agreed.
Recognize this?
Yes, I do. It is Reagan's charm bracelet. I gave it to him.
Is there something special about it?
It's been in the family for years. I'm not sure where it came from, but I believe that the charms were carved from the wood of the serendipitous redwood.
What?
They were very, very old trees, and they grew very tall. Up to a mile, if the texts can be believed. The trouble was they were very top-heavy, and the slightest wind would knock them over.
How did they grow so tall?
That was the thing, you see. They'd fall over, but they were unbelievably lucky. They'd prop themselves up against each other like a house of cards.
Lucky trees?
Oh, believe me, as a student of flora, I have seen many such strange things evolve. Strangeness is indigenous to the Discworld.
What happened to the redwoods?
Someone cut one down, and the rest came down like dominoes. They crushed the fellow with the axe, I believe.
I guess they weren't so lucky for him. I'll be back later.
I look forward to it.
The Temple of Small Gods was Ankh-Morpork's unique concession to all the thousands, perhaps millions, of small gods that the Discworld was home to. Most of the gods were so small they never got worshipped. The spirits of lonely trees, or the places where two ant trails crossed, and they stayed that way because they lacked belief. Give a god belief, one follower or 10 or 10,000, and it grows up from the void into whatever fanciful deity its followers devise. Everyone knows that people need gods to blame for everything that is wrong, or praise for everything that is right. But they forget that every god needs people, too. Inside the temple, a bazaar of fanatics, lunatics, and cultists of all descriptions were trying to sell their faith to prospective followers. 2 salvations for the price of 1. Extra indulgences if you get a friend to join. That sort of thing. The lost and the lonely came here seeking direction. I found it hard to picture Carlotta amongst their number. Malaclypse drew attention to himself by virtue of the lack of crowds around him. Even the followers of Flatulus had a small crowd, but for some reason no one wanted to talk to him. It looked as if he had a metal fish hung around his neck. Who do you worship, then?
Why do you want to know? Who sent you? What do you want?
My name's Lewton. I'm a private investigator.
You've been sent by the elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight to silence me, haven't you? Their plots are so transparent. It won't work. I have protection.
There isn't an elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight anymore. They were forcibly disbanded.
Disbanded?
By a dragon, as it happens.
Ah, that's what they want you to think. That was all faked, so that they could eliminate all their traitors and go underground. Even as we speak, they are plotting to control the patrician by putting mind-altering drugs in the palace's water supply.
Then it's true. I'd heard that you were the only other person who really knew what was going on.
What do you want?
I just want to learn from you. Only you can teach me what is really going on in Ankh-Morpork.
You don't fool me.
I don't?
You just want to steal all my knowledge and then use it to further your plans of glory.
Ah, but I know that you know that, and you know that I know that. Which means we're at a stalemate. And since you know more than me, you have the advantage in a stalemate, which means that ultimately you'll beat me.
Yes! Yes! I see. You plan to try and use me, don't you? Well, many have tried to use Malaclypse, and I have beaten them all.
No, I can't hide anything from you, can I?
Very well, I will let you, for as long as it serves my purposes to do so. What did you wish to know?
Which deity do you serve?
That's a big question. Which deity do you serve?
I don't serve any deity.
Then I don't serve any deity either.
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
All right. You first.
I serve...
You didn't finish.
I am forbidden by an oath of loyalty never to speak aloud the name of the person of heart.
The ancient mystic order of... Yes, I know all about you. I know every conspiracy turnwise of the Wormberg, and all but one conspiracy hubwards of the Great Neff.
Your turn.
I am the proud servitor of Errata, the goddess of misunderstandings, the mistress of mayhem, the countess of confusion, and the duchess of discord.
You know, sometimes I think I'm her servitor, too.
You get a free gold-plated apple if you join this week.
Tell me about the goddess Errata.
There is no goddess greater than Errata. Have you not looked at the world and seen all the confusion and misunderstanding? Well, who do you think put it there? It didn't happen by chance. Nothing ever happens by chance.
So, every misunderstanding that has ever happened, Errata was behind them all.
Yes. She has started wars, and she has ended wars. Millions have died for the glory of Errata.
And presumably most of them believe they were dying for something else.
Oh, yes. The goddess is shrewd in her ways.
She must be very powerful.
There is no goddess more powerful than Errata.
Then why doesn't she just make everyone into her follower?
Let me tell you something, Lewton. Everyone is a follower of Errata. They just don't know it.
How come you know that you're a follower of Errata?
I only think I'm a follower of Errata. I might be a follower of someone else, and I wouldn't even know it.
Errata thinks of everything, doesn't she? You said you knew all but one conspiracy, hubwards of the Great Neff. What's the one conspiracy you don't know?
If I knew that, I would know all the conspiracies, wouldn't I?
You don't know anything about that one conspiracy?
Nothing.
Then how do you know that there is another conspiracy?
Because when I put all the other conspiracies together, I can see the pieces missing.
In other words, you can tell there's a conspiracy because you can't see it.
Everything casts a shadow, Lewton. At least of some kind.
What if the missing pieces are a ruse by one of the conspiracies you do know about to try and distract you from paying attention to what they're doing?
No, that's too far-fetched.
So is there a formal church of Errata?
I am the formal church of Errata. I hold her sacred emblem.
And what would that be?
The scarlet totem that I wear around my neck.
And how do you go about joining the church?
I told you! Everyone is part of the Church of Errata. They just don't know it.
Do you know a woman by the name of Carlotta Von Berwald? Have you seen her around the temple?
Oh, yes. I know her. She's part of one of the darkest conspiracies. And they're plotting to take over the world by stealing the lost treasures of Errata and turning them towards a dark purpose. Don't trust her, Lewton. Trust no one.
You know about Mundy's murder?
Of course.
Was she here when he was killed?
Yes. Yes, she was.
Does this charm bracelet mean anything to you?
Well, It's a gluckding carved out of serendipitous redwood from Uberwald, I guess.
What does it do?
It brings luck.
Good luck or bad luck?
Both. First, it brings good luck, little stacks of felicitous circumstances. But sooner or later, the wielder pays for any good luck with a massive dose of bad luck. A giant omelette of doom delivered by a mad god.
Great. A mad god's omelette. Do you want it?
Are you insane? Give it to someone who's desperate.
I'll have to go. The truth is out there.
Trust no one.
Behind Mooncalf was a beautiful stained glass window depicting Morphine, the angel of dreams, passing the recipe for the Discworld's first pizza to a mortal.
I was drawn to Mooncalf by his religious fervor. He was the kind of man who wouldn't miss a single event in the temple, no matter how trivial. He also struck me as the kind of fanatic who knew 100 words for infidel and not one for compromise.
You with the hat. Have you accepted Anu into your heart?
The name isn't you with the hat, it's Lewton. And no, I haven't accepted Anu into my heart. Why should I?
For it is written in the book of Kelpie, he who has not the spirit of Anu in his heart shall have his heart eaten by the Divine One on the day of judgment.
I'll take that chance.
Or you may mock infidel, but the day of judgment is coming, mark my words. The signs are clear, the omens are unquestionable, the stars are right and the auguries are undeniable.
What about the auspices?
The auspices are fair to light with a small chance of Judgment Day later in the eon.
I think you're taking the auspice. Did your church buy that window?
We are not a church, we're a cult.
What's the difference?
Demographics. Churches appeal to the high society element. Good for funding, but bad for grassroots support. Now, your average cult has much more of a street-level membership. Not so much money, but easier to get things done.
Well, did your cult buy that window?
No. It was purchased by the Eternal Seers of Revelation Joe many years ago. It depicts the moment when the divine prophet was given the recipe for pizza by the Creator.
How come you're working in front of it?
The Eternal Seers ran out of support decades ago.
It figures. Now let me get this straight. The Eternal Seers of Revelation Joe worshipped pizza.
No, my child. The legends say that the first pizza was created by the Klatchian mystic Ronron Revelation Joe Sawadi, who claimed to have been given the recipe in a dream by the creator of the Discworld himself. Allegedly, the creator said that the pizza was what he had intended all along. Those who have seen the original say that what the creator had in mind was a small cheese and pepperoni affair, with a few black olives, and things like mountains and seas got added out of last-minute enthusiasm, as so often happens.
So who were the Eternal Seers?
The survivors of the schism of the Turnwise Ones and the resulting Grand Jihad.
Grand Jihad?
Yes. After the deaths of some 25,000 people, the faithful were allowed to add one small bay leaf to the recipe.
So is this divine figure in the window the creator?
Oh no. It is blasphemy for any to depict the rat face of the creator.
Because of his divine stature?
No. Because it is clear that world creation is not a divine act, but a rather straightforward mechanical function. Hence, to praise the creator would be blasphemy.
How does the creator feel about that?
He seems content. He's had some success with his design, apparently. The details are sketchy.
So, here I am, a fresh punter. Why should I choose your religion over anyone else's?
Because Anu is the true god of gods, more mighty and strong than all the others put together.
About half the gods in this temple alone claim to be the true god of gods.
But Anu reveals himself through his divine miracles.
Such as?
Ever looked at your thumb? Ever really thought about it? Ever considered what you couldn't do if you didn't have a thumb?
Anu is the god of thumbs?
No, but Anu bites away the thumbs of the non-believer.
I'm not convinced. Anything else?
Join the cult of Anu now to receive a free faux pearl statuette of the great god Anu, a $90 value, absolutely free. Be the envy of your friends as they roast in the fires of Sogorop.
Thanks, but I'll pass. So what is Anu Anu the god of?
Anu Anu is above being bound to one single concept or idea. He is power incarnate.
Come on, level with me. What is he the god of?
It's not to be discussed with non-believers.
So this is less of a religion and more of a lucky dip.
Oh, I feel sorry for you on Judgment Day.
You keep mentioning Judgment Day. What do you mean?
Mark my words, it's coming. Darkness and evil shall descend on this city, and fetid corruption shall consume the very souls of the unbelievers. Only the followers of Anu Anu shall be saved.
Darkness and evil? How exactly are we going to tell Judgment Day from any other day in Ankh-Morpork?
By the time you realize what's going on, it will be too late.
It generally is. I asked Mooncalf if Carlotta was in the temple when Mundy was murdered. Frankly, he didn't seem very sure. His face took on a vacant look, like someone trying to remember who won the boat race in the year of the asthmatic antelope.
Yes. Yes, I believe I saw her in the temple that night.
Does she come here often?
She is indeed a regular of the Temple of Small Gods. I myself have lectured her at great length on the virtues of the cult of Anu Anu.
Why does she come here?
Why does anyone come here, Lewton? For answers. For absolution. Perhaps simply out of boredom. But mostly for something to give her life a meaning.
What makes you think life has a meaning?
20 million zealots can't all be wrong.
There are 20 million members of your cult?
Not of this cult, but every religion is testament to the quest for meaning, even if our cult is the only true religion.
Don't you feel like you're just servicing a group of selfish, self-obsessed, half-wit deities whose ability to survive without you is considerably less than your ability to survive without them?
Watch your tongue, Lewton. Talk like an atheist and you can expect a lightning bolt to strike you where you least expect.
I'll take my chances. Well, I'll be on my way.
I'll be here should you choose to repent. Did I tell you that we're giving away free tea towels to anyone who joins this week?
I knew that someone had pushed the card under the door, and I knew what it meant. It meant that I should have fitted a letterbox.
Have arranged meeting with Therma on the rooftops at the junction of Sally Street and Phaedra Road. Come immediately.
Salis and Phaedra. There wasn't much around there. Nice and quiet. Well, I'm back. It's not been easy, but I've arranged a meeting with Therma.
Take me there. Take me to Therma.
In a moment. First, there's a couple of things we need to discuss.
Take me to Therma. Take me now.
Okay. Let's go. The rooftops above Salis and Phaedra were quiet. No one had a reason to be up here. I was looking forward to meeting the mysterious Therma, and I was hoping I might get some answers out of her. Unfortunately, the last thing I remembered was looking up at the moon. The next thing I knew, I was being arrested by the Watch. They told me Malachite was as dead as two sides of bacon, and I was the prime suspect. His back had been chipped away like he'd said something particularly insulting to a disgruntled quarry workman, and they seemed to think my crowbar was the murder weapon. I had the opportunity and a possible murder weapon. All they were missing was motive. And anyone who had ever tried to get an intelligent comment out of the troll had a motive to kill him. It looked like I'd been stitched up as nicely as a fine genuine tapestry. They took me to Pseudopolis Yard to be interrogated. They had a salamander lamp shining in my eyes, so I couldn't see what was going on, but I could hear Nobby and a troll talking in the darkness. It was probably Detritus, the first troll to join the Watch. Detritus was the troll many people in Ankh-Morpork thought of when they heard the word troll, bringing back as it does vague memories of sudden concussion and extreme pain. Sometimes you'd hear 2 short planks being described as thick as detritus. Your ideal street cop, in fact.
So I'm a good cop.
No, I'm the good cop. You're the bad cop.
Dan, why don't I get to prod him a bit with my fists?
Because we're supposed to get information out of him, and it's hard to understand people talking through a mouthful of loose teeth.
I can smash lightly, more like a gentle caress, right?
No punching.
I can kick using minimal acceptable force. Like Mr. Vimes says, lots of it.
No punching, no kicking. We just talk to him.
Talk?
Right, well, I'll talk. You shout.
All right, you done it. Own up now, we know it was you.
No, not yet.
Oh, all right.
I've just got to start the audiograph.
Right. All right, you done it now. You got to sing like one of them flappy twittery things.
Wait!
I've got to start the recording properly, otherwise it doesn't count. Right. Interviewing suspect Lewton. Present, Corporal Nobbs and Sergeant Detritus.
Now?
Now.
All right, you done it. You might as well make it easy on yourself. Everyone know it was you.
This is my interrogation, is it?
Don't you change the subject, you miserable excuse for our horse's donkey.
Just tell us what happened, Lewton.
Here are the facts. Fact. Mundy was killed. You found at the murder scene.
I was unconscious.
How you knowing you was unconscious if you was unconscious, eh? Foiled you with logic. Now you listen to me good, and then we see who wears the long 2-legged garments. Fact. Escaped thingy, Mount Malachite.
Thingy? You mean troll?
Nah, not escaped troll. Escaped,
Feline.
Escaped feline?
Yeah, he escaped from a holding cell.
Is it possible the word we're looking for here is felon?
That's the one.
What did he do?
Hey, we asked the questions, you miserable arugaraha. You know what arugaraha mean?
He knocked over the Van Uberwald mansion.
I never knocked over the Von Uberwald mansion.
Now, that's what Malachite did.
So what does arugraha mean?
In the precise moment that dog droppings turn white.
I think you'd better get back to being the bad cop.
I am the good cop.
Now, I'm the good cop.
So that make me...
The bad cop.
So how come I not get to hit you then?
We can't beat him up, Detritus. That'd be police brutality.
It only brutality if you leave marks what show. Escaped thingy, Mount Malachite. Was killed. And you was found at the murder scene there too.
Once again, I was unconscious.
Oh, how convenient for you. 2 murders and 2 unconsciousnesses. What about the murder weapon, eh? What about the crowbar?
Tell us where you got the crowbar, and I'll give you a smoke.
One of your dog ends? No, thanks.
I'll get you coffee. Maybe some cherry cake. New suit. You get to choose the colour.
I think you're taking this good cop role too seriously.
Thank you. Now my turn. You want to fall down the steps to the cell without leaving your chair? It's fine by me.
I'm not guilty, and I refuse to feed your suspicions and paranoia by consenting to this charade.
I thought charades were a game. Like chase my neighbour up the passage.
No, you need a pack of cards for chase my neighbour up the passage.
Not where I come from.
We're trying to do you a favour. We could give you to the Lawyers Guild.
You don't want that, Lewton. They'd eat you alive. You don't have anywhere near enough money to be innocent.
Haven't you got better things to do than harass me?
We harass you 'cause you is guilty. We knows you done it.
That's enough, Detritus.
Sir?
You can go.
I did it right?
Let's say you were everything I expected. Now go and write up the report. Not in crayon this time, please.
That should keep him busy for a few days.
He may be slow, but he's not an untrustworthy killer like you.
Why the personal interest in this case, Vimes? I'm sure you've got more important things to do now you're commander of the Watch.
My reasons are my own.
You're not interested in my guilt or innocence. You're just out to nail me.
Frankly, Lewton, I've got all the evidence of your guilt I need, and if I get my way, they'll lock you up and melt down the key for scrap iron. You're a bad cop, and I don't have any time for you.
If you're so convinced of my guilt, why the interrogation?
Nobby has this deranged idea that there might be some extenuating circumstances that we ought to find out about.
It'd make everything a lot easier if you'd confess, Lewton. I'm sure you had a good reason to do what you did. Let us help you. Cigarette? Holiday for two in Quirm, sea-facing room, we pay the minibar bill?
I'm not guilty, and I'm not confessing to a crime I didn't commit.
Listen to me, Lewton. We're conducting this interrogation because I believe in upholding the law.
There is no law in Ankh-Morpork.
True enough, but there's my law, and there's the patrician's law. Which would you rather face?
What's the difference?
The Lord Veterinary considers it a happy state of affairs if the punishment can involve the actual perpetrator, but sees it as by no means essential. I consider it to be absolutely essential.
But you've already decided that I'm guilty.
That doesn't mean I've proved it.
And if I prove my innocence?
That's not going to happen.
Then what's the point of this farce?
Smoke?
No.
The thing is, Lewton, we just want to find out what happened.
Do one decent thing in your life, Lewton. Help us close this case.
Why should I?
So we can close this sorry little act and concentrate on the threat to the city.
The threat?
The counterweight killings.
Surely you have other suspects for the murders I'm accused of, even if you don't think they're part of the counterweight killings.
Smoke? A set of the complete plays of Hwell the Dwarf bound in nearly real leather?
No, I don't want a smoke. I want to know who the other suspects are.
At the moment, you're top of our list.
Although you are the bottom of our list, too.
I am the list, aren't I?
Sorry.
Don't apologize, Nobby. Listen, Lewton. There are other suspects for the counterweight killings, and we're investigating those. But for Mundy and the Troll, you're the bottom line.
What about Horst?
What does Horst have to do with anything?
He's been watching me. He's up to something.
He's always up to something. But he's not a murderer. Not by his own hand, anyway. He'd never be so careless as to carry out a murder himself. He's not that dumb.
What about Al-Khali?
Al-Khali?
One of Horst's cronies. I think he's been following me.
I guess I could interview him.
Why do I have a feeling that you won't?
Face it, Lewton. You killed Mundy. You killed Malachite. And you tried to make it look like it was part of the counterweight killings.
Doesn't it make more sense that both Mundy and Malachite were killed by this so-called counterweight killer?
That's what you'd like us to believe, isn't it? You make the murders look like the counterweight killings and hope to get away with it.
That's it, isn't it? You're not interested in me. You want to catch the counterweight killer.
You're just a low-life killer, Lewton. My job is to protect citizens from people like you.
What? You don't even like them much. You think they're all criminals.
Maybe. But murder leaves the place too messy.
Look, Lewton, we don't think you're involved with the counterweight killings. But we have to know which ones are which if we're going to stop him from killing again. This is your chance to be a hero. To help us to catch a foreign assassin.
A hero? There's nothing I can do to save myself. Why should I care about the rest of the city?
You were a good man once, Lewton. This could be your one shot at redemption.
I was never that good a shot.
You ought to know, Lewton, that you're a suspect in the counterweight killings. That crowbar of yours was palace property, which means you had access to at least one of the murder sites.
You're getting desperate, aren't you?
We're wasting our time with you.
What about Reagan?
The dead dwarf? What about him?
Another murder in suspicious, almost ritualistic circumstances. He's a nobody, but it has all the hallmarks of a counterweight killing.
Are you confessing to the murder of Reagan?
No. I'm just saying that Mundy and Malachite aren't the only nobodies to get bumped off in mysterious circumstances.
There was nothing mysterious about Reagan's death.
People don't just drive carriages off a bridge for no reason.
He was driving recklessly across the city. It's probably just a suicide. Maybe he was just drunk.
Reagan was murdered. I'm sure of it.
You've got bigger problems than that right now, Lewton. I suggest you concentrate on them.
Nothing I say is going to convince you of my innocence, is it?
It doesn't look that way.
All right. Yes, I was in Mundy's room when he was killed, but I was unconscious. And yes, I was on the rooftops when Malachite was killed. Again, I was unconscious. I don't know what happened, but somebody knocked me out, and whoever they are, they're the one you should be looking for.
Fine. If that's the way you want it, that's the way you'll get it. Give my regards to Lord Veterinary when your trial comes up. I doubt he'll be as patient with you as I have. The fact is, mister, that with you behind bars, the city will be a slightly better place.
They delivered me into the hands of the palace guards, who delivered me into the walls of a holding cell. I had a bad feeling about the way things were going. Mostly people who were sent to the patrician for trial got seen right away. Rumor had it that being put in a holding cell pending trial was like being filed away in a drawer marked forgotten, and not a very big drawer at that. The wall to the cell had a nice dank feel to it. I expect it was Cell Wall of the Month in Home and Dungeon. The rat had disappeared in a small crack in the wall. The question was, where had he gone? As I worked my fingers around the crack, it became clear that the crack was the side of a loose slab. The other side of the wall was another cell, but nothing like the holding cell. This was full of sketches and models, tools and materials. It looked more like a workshop, and there was someone working in it.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thanks.
Are you sure? Or are they not drinking tea outside anymore?
Outside?
The city. I take it you're from the city. How is it? Same as ever, I suppose.
You're Leonard de Quirm.
Yes, I am.
I'd found Leonard de Quirm. The man was almost a legend. There was no disputing that Leonard was a technological genius. But this meant he was as dangerous to the precarious stability of Ankh-Morpork as a compulsive smoker in a firework factory. Rumor had it that the patrician had locked him in a nice airy cell for everyone's safety, because Leonard was the kind of guy who'd light any fuse for the innocent pleasure of seeing what kind of bang he could make. The only other thing I could recall was that although the guy was hot stuff with the nuts and bolts, he was definitely at the bottom of the class when it came to thinking up names. The patrician keeps you imprisoned here,
Sorry?
You're working for the patrician?
Not really. He calls from time to time and has a look at some of my sketches. Nice man. He keeps me abreast of events on the outside.
What's that you're working on?
This is my flapping wing flying device. I built a small prototype out of gutta percha strips, twisted tightly together, and it worked. although not very well. Now I'm building a full-scale model.
Does it fly?
Not yet. But once I've solved the problem of the weight of the holding it together frame and the mechanical faults with the spinning blades radiating from the central hub, it should do. I was having trouble getting enough force to twist the blades together, but the troll the other week sorted that out for me.
Troll?
Yes. He was staying in your room before you. He made this window for me so I could watch the bird. Always good for inspiration are the birds. Not that I don't have enough inspiration as it is. Damn things. Just once I'd like to wake up without finding my sheets covered in sketches of novel designs for apple peelers.
Did you give the troll some metal strips by any chance?
Yes. He made them into a metal hook with prongs, I believe. Not one of my designs.
His name was Malachite.
Was it? It's possible. I never was good with names.
The gaping hole had been created by Malachite to escape from the palace. Leonard liked to think of it as a window. At that moment, I thought I heard the sound of someone at the door to my cell. My heart leapt to my throat and narrowly missed my tonsils. I had to get back to my cell and fast.
Hello, Lewton.
Nobby, what are you doing here?
I've come to let you go.
Does Vimes know you're here?
Yeah, he sent me.
What happened?
There's a witness to Malachite's murder. Saw the whole thing, although not very well. He couldn't identify the killer, but from the description we got from him, we can rule out you.
So, I'm off the hook?
More or less.
Vimes must be livid.
I've seen him happier, but he's still convinced you're involved in this somehow.
I dare say he has a point, actually. But I'm not a cold-blooded killer, whatever he may think. Who was the witness?
A gargoyle up on the roof of the clerk's office on Salis Street.
What did he see?
I'm not supposed to discuss that with you. Come on, let's get you out of here.
You won't get any arguments from me.
Right, here's your stuff.
Where's the crowbar?
We're keeping that as evidence.
Yeah, right. I'll see you around, Nobby. Thanks for coming to get me out. I appreciate it.
That's what friends are for, isn't it?
Friends are for getting you out of a holding cell?
Could be. I ain't got that many.
You won't get any argument from me. See you later. I had this feeling that I was caught in the middle of something big, but I still hadn't a clue what it was. All I could do was keep searching and hope that sooner or later I'd stumble upon the truth. Well, maybe not stumble, just very carefully put my foot on it and hope the other end didn't come up and hit me in the teeth. They'd put a chalk outline where Malachite had fallen. It really drove home how big that troll was. Are you the gargoyle that witnessed the troll's murder? Clark's Gable?
That's right.
I don't suppose you could talk a little more clearly.
Thing is, I have a gutter in my mouth. Have you ever tried to speak with a gutter in your mouth?
Have I ever tried to hick with a what?
A gutter! A gutter in your mouth!
Oh, with a gutter in my mouth.
Yes!
Sorry, I guess I haven't given much thought to the orally challenged.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
I heard you saw the murder that took place here the other night.
Sure did.
Mind if I ask you some questions about it?
Be my guest.
So you're a gargoyle, then?
What kind of a conversation opening do you call that, eh?
Don't you get bored being stuck in the same place for so long?
You get used to it. Mating is a bit of a pain.
You must be incredibly patient.
Oh, I always have plenty of things to think about.
Such as?
Well, Well, like, is it raining? Or doesn't that cloud look like a really big cloud?
Oh, the fun never stops when you're up on the rooftops.
You said it.
How do gargoyles mate?
Very slowly.
You can move, though.
Course. How do you think I got here in the first place,
Then why don't you?
Look, I don't criticise you for running about like your brain would stop if your body stopped moving. So don't criticise me and my lifestyle, eh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause any offense.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
Can you tell me what you saw the other night?
When the troll was killed, eh?
Has anything else interesting happened recently?
Well, I got a pigeon yesterday. That's a rarity. Mostly they steer clear of the rooftops that are colonised by gargoyles.
Putting that to one side, what did you see the other night?
Well, I can only tell you what I told the watch. I saw you and the big troll come up the ladder, only once you were on the roof, it was hard to make out what was going on because of the shadows. But I saw the troll get savaged repeatedly by some kind of creature, some kind of beast.
A beast?
Yeah, that's the best description I can give you.
It's not much help, but thanks all the same.
What for?
For getting me out of jail.
No problem. Glad I could help. If you could toss the odd pigeon up here next time they're passing, I'd be grateful, yeah.
Do you mind if I come back if I have any more questions?
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm back.
Let's have a party.
I've come to collect some cargo.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna swallow that, aren't I? I mean, you come up asking questions about cargo, and I won't tell you about the cargo. Then, miraculously, you're here to collect some cargo. You must think I was born yesterday.
Well, I can always take this shipping order to your boss and say that you wouldn't let me collect my cargo.
Okay. Well, let's not be too hasty, eh? I mean, I have to be skeptical, right? I'm a watchman. Where would we be if people like me weren't just a little bit cynical? All right. You win.
I eventually persuaded the watchman to show me the ledger for the recent deliveries. The Milka had been carrying some wine barrels that were shipped to the Café Ankh and some crates under the name Varberg. According to the watchman, they were collected by the Guild of Archaeologists, Antiquarians, and Tomb Evacuators. I guess somewhere was the Von Berwald crate that went with the shipping order, but the watchman didn't know about it, and there was no sign of it in the warehouse. I couldn't tell what the crates contained. Ankh-Morpork was home to around 300 guilds, most of which festered in the space between Unseen University and the Patrician's Palace like fungus. From the Assassin's Guild to the Beggar's Guild, every one a proud group of individuals basking in their mutual arrogance. I hated them for their smugness. I hated their petty bickering. But most of all, I hated that I wasn't part of one. Hello? Open up.
All right. Hold on. What do you want?
Can I come in?
Are you a member?
No.
Then no. This is members only.
You only allow members into the guild?
That's what I said. I wasn't kidding.
What happens if something goes wrong with your plumbing?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you let the plumbers in to fix the problem?
Yes, we do.
Are they members of the guild?
No, we sign them in.
If you signed me in, I could come in, right?
That's right.
Then what do I have to do to get you to sign me in?
There's nothing you can do that'll make me sign you in. I just don't like you.
You don't like me? What kind of excuse is that?
It's the truth.
How else can I get in?
Find another guild member to sign you in, or become a guild member.
Great. So I have to wait around here for a guild member willing to sign me in to turn up.
Don't hold your breath.
How do I become a member, then?
You need to find a member of the guild to endorse you.
Never mind. I can spot a lost cause when I see one. I guess that's it for now, then.
Good. Don't hurry back.
I figured the golem wouldn't notice that the crowbar had gone missing. Not that I'm saying it didn't need it, just that I'd figured I'd get away with stealing it. Taking a break, Samael?
Oh, yes. It's not easy working the piano all night.
Well, I'm sure you deserve it.
Thank you, Mr. Lewton.
You don't have to call me Mr. Samael. We're old friends.
Sure thing, Mr. Lewton. Old friends. I reckon I've earned a right to call you Mister.
As long as that's what you want. How's business, Samael?
It's pretty good, Mr. Lewton. How are things with you?
Not so good. I think I'm so deep in trouble that I haven't even realized it yet.
You haven't had much luck, have you, Mr. Lewton?
Not since the Hotel Pseudopolis.
That was when... Oh, I see.
That's okay, Samael. I don't mind talking to you about it. You're like family. Apparently, some of the cargo on the Milka was delivered here.
That's right. The Milka always brings us a supply of Ephebian wine.
Where is it now?
Most of it is still in the wine cellar. We sell some of it on.
Who to?
Lots of different people. I have a box of receipts in the cellar if you're interested.
Sure.
I'll give you the key.
Years ago, it would have been my dream to stand in the Café Ankh's wine cellar. So many barrels of fine wine. Even Chateau Hector, Year of the Weevil. My favorite vintage. I used to dream of Ilsa, too, from time to time. So when I walked in to find Ilsa there, I had to check I wasn't wearing my pajamas. Just like Samael had told me, there was a box of receipts in the cellar. I rooted carefully through the receipts, and the only recent purchaser was the patrician. It seems he'd bought a number of barrels of fine wine to take to the palace. I guess the golem I'd seen at the cafe was owned by Lord Veterinary. Hello again, Ilsa. I can see I'm going to have to get used to finding you where I least expect. You didn't say goodbye at the casino. What happened to you?
We got away, thanks to you.
It was nothing.
It wasn't nothing. You saved our lives, Lewton.
Lulu, is that you?
What's up with him?
He's delirious. He's been injured.
Let me have a look at his wound.
He'll be fine. He needs a chance to rest, that's all. He fades in and out a little, but he'll be okay.
What happened?
It was Remora. He's been following us. He won't quit.
He's an assassin. It's his job. Once they've been paid, the target is as good as dead. They never renege on a contract. They throw great soirees as well, and if they invite you, they won't take no for an answer.
That's not much comfort.
Well, at least you know if an assassin kills you, you're not going to be killed by some thug. They're very efficient at it. Practice makes perfect, you might say. I was going to be an assassin once.
What happened?
The usual. Forces outside my control.
It is you, from Casino. You save our life. We to be in your debt.
I guess you to be just that.
We need your help, Lewton.
Haven't I done enough for you?
I know it's a lot to ask after. What happened?
Women. It's never enough for you, is it?
Please, you have to find us somewhere safe to hide.
Why? Why should I do that for you? Why should I do anything for you?
Not for what happened, Lewton. For what we had. Once.
We had a dream. Trouble is, I woke up and I could still remember it. Does he know about us?
2 conkers? No, I never told him.
Why not?
He's my husband.
You're married?
I always was, even when I met you.
Why didn't you tell me?
It's not as simple as that. I met 2 conkers in Ikalpon. He was on a secret dig for the Sun Emperor and we fell in love.
I thought the Agateans weren't supposed to know about the outside world.
That's true, but the outside world isn't supposed to know about the Agatean Empire either. Trouble is, centuries ago, their empire spread beyond the counterweight continent, and there's archaeological evidence for the strange and charmed Quack dynasties all along the Turnwise Ocean coast. The Sun Emperor sent 2 conkers out to cover up the evidence.
This doesn't explain why you didn't tell me you were married when we met.
2 conkers went back to the Agatean Empire, and I stayed behind. He wasn't sure I'd be safe there as an outsider. I didn't think I'd ever see him again. He might as well have died. I almost died too, until I met you.
Great. I was your number 2 husband.
You don't understand, Lewton. I didn't love 2 conkers. I mean, I was infatuated with him, and he needed me. I was nothing before I met him. He gave me a purpose. He gave me a life.
Oh, that's good. Because he took mine. At least his accounts will balance. He came back, didn't he? That's why you left me.
Yes. I got a letter from him saying that the government had been overthrown and the empire was a new world. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't think you'd understand.
At least you got that right. So you're Mrs. Ilsa Conkers.
No, I kept my maiden name. Our marriage was supposed to be a secret.
So you've been traveling with 2 conkers for quite a while now.
Yes, we've been making our way around the Circle Sea. There have been several digs.
And everything you find goes back to the Agatean Empire.
No, not now. There's no point. Most of it comes here to Ankh-Morpork. We give it to the Guild of Archaeologists, Antiquarians, and Tomb Evacuators. They have quite a collection of artifacts.
That's it? You spend your life digging up junk that no one ever sees?
We're looking for something. Something 2 conkers wants to take back to the Agatean Empire.
What is it?
A jewel.
Jewel. Find the jewel, yes?
Tell me about this jewel.
Gold-plated jewel. Very old.
I thought the Agatean Empire had plenty of gold.
Special artifact. Gold to be making it come from Agatean Empire. Stolen by one of your gods. Great fortune to Empire if it can be returned to us.
How will you know if you found it?
Gold-plated jewel not common. This jewel be having inscription. Unquam paratas.
It means forever ready.
You don't even know if this jewel actually exists, do you?
We've just come from a dig in Sorta. It's a village near the ruins of the ancient city of Sort. We found inscriptions there of many artifacts, including this jewel. It exists, all right. We just haven't been able to find it.
If all these inscriptions were in Sorta, what are you doing here in Ankh-Morpork?
That's just it. The inscriptions claim that the jewel is here in Ankh-Morpork. Apparently, after the fall of Sort, the jewel was held by monks in the village of Sorta. But over 4 centuries, the Knights of the Order of the Sacred Tulip went out on quests to find it.
Why?
They were knights. They went on foolish quests all the time. It was a night thing. I think all the different orders competed to outdo each other in foolishness. I heard the Knights of the Fairly Pink Triangle spent 2 centuries looking for a better name.
And you think one of the knights found it?
Apparently. The inscription said he took it to Ankh-Morpork, there to guard it forever.
Forever?
You know these ancient inscriptions. They have a tendency to exaggerate everything. It probably meant nearly forever.
I'm trying to track some of the cargo on the Milka. A set of crates that were supposed to belong to a Varberg.
That's me, Ilse Varberg.
You never told me your name was Varberg.
Names weren't that important to us back then, if you remember.
I guess not. So the crates are yours?
Mine and 2 conkers, yes. They should be at the Guild of Archaeologists by now.
What was in them?
Artifacts from the dig in Sorta. Nothing valuable except in the historical sense.
I need to get to them.
I can get you into the guild if you want, but it'll cost you.
What do you want?
Find us somewhere safe to hide 2 conkers. He's not safe while Remora is looking for him.
That's true, but nowhere in the city is going to be safe.
You'll have to find somewhere that no one would even think of looking for him.
It'd take a miracle to conceal 2 conkers, and the patrician has outlawed miracles.
That's my price. If you hide 2 conkers, I'll sign you into the guild. You'll never get in there without me.
I'll do what I can. That's all I can do.
That's all I ask.
If I find somewhere to hide him, you'll take me to the crates?
I'll get you into the guild, but you're on your own after that. That's my offer. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I'll be back.
We're not going anywhere.
Shouldn't you have stopped me by now?
What? What do you mean?
Well, I'm practically into the palace itself, and you haven't even asked who I am.
We can already tell you aren't important.
Not important? I might be a foreign spy.
Accent's too clean for that. I'd say you were born here in Ankh-Morpork.
How can you tell?
Accents. He knows them all.
Ah, hidden talents, eh?
We're guards. All our talents are hidden.
So, you're members of the illustrious palace guards, are you?
Illustrious? Do you know what it means to be a palace guard? We're arrow fodder. If anyone with half-decent skills breaks into the palace, you'll be picking our limbs out of the tapestries.
So why do you do it?
It beats being in the City Watch.
And the uniforms are much nicer, too. You used to be in the City Watch, didn't you?
You can tell that from my accent.
Would I lie to you?
So, you're an expert on accents.
Oh, yeah. I can tell all sorts of things about you.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
From the stress in your voice, I'd say you experienced a major emotional event about 8 years ago. You like to drink, but if you're not careful, you drink to excess. And you like whiskey.
That really is incredible. Anything else?
That's about it.
You didn't say which part of the city I was born in.
No, that's trickier.
You can tell that I drink whiskey from my accent, but you can't tell which part of the city I was born in.
Well, it comes and goes.
You don't know anything about accents, do you?
Of course he doesn't. He just has a good memory.
You were in the bucket a couple of years ago. You were probably too drunk to remember it.
A couple of years ago, I was too drunk to remember anything. So if you don't know anything about accents, how do you know I'm not a threat to the palace?
If you knew what it was we were guarding, you'd understand.
What is it you're guarding?
Every way into and out of the palace has to be guarded, and we guard one of those.
That's a little vague.
We guard the vital export of post-palatial merchandise.
We guard the trash heap.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Where is it?
The trash heap? It's around the corner.
But don't steal anything. That's palace garbage. By royal appointment.
Well, by the patrician's appointment.
That's good enough for me.
Is it really that dangerous working for the palace?
Oh, yeah. Our lives could come to a bloody end at any moment.
He's lying, of course. He's always lying. No enemies have ever entered Ankh-Morpork since it was founded.
What about the dwarf attack in the reign of Veltric II? Or the barbarian invasion in the time of Webblethorpe the Unconscious?
Well, of course, technically, we've been invaded quite frequently, but, you know how it is. The guys arrive, they meet a nice local girl, and anyway, their leaders suddenly don't want all the big houses burned down because now they own them, and they find sleeping on real beds is a treat after all that time in the saddle. And what with one thing and another, it all ends peacefully.
In other words, you don't have much to do.
Well, there's a lot of standing around to do, but it's not like the golden age of the kings of Ankh.
The golden age?
Well, it was a time long enough ago that no one can remember how wretched it was.
Do you know a lot about the kings of Ankh?
Oh, sure. The whole history of the monarchy.
How come?
Oh, hanging around palaces. You pick up that kind of thing.
What happened to the kings of Ankh?
Well, the real line came to an end about 2,000 years ago. And after that, we got 17 centuries of a monarchy where the crown was available to anyone with enough soldiers and a strong stomach.
That couldn't have been very stable.
Stable? Ha! Not many lines survived more than 2 or 3 generations. Some of them didn't even make it to the end of the coronation feast.
The shortest reign on record was that of Loyola the Arg, at 1.13 seconds.
Can't have been much of a monarch.
That's nothing. For a week, Ankh-Morpork was technically ruled by a wasp. And for several days, by the left foot of the high priest of Io, who dropped the crown on it during the crucial point of the ceremony.
The foot was one of the better rulers, apparently. Made good decisions.
The palace buys a lot of wine, doesn't it?
Why do you want to know?
Just a casual interest in wine.
Your only interest in alcohol is whiskey, and that's more than a casual interest.
It's a hobby.
Most hobbies don't leave you unconscious on the barroom tiles.
Where do the barrels end up?
Around the corner.
Well, when they've been emptied, they do.
See you around.
If you say so.
I liked the idea of hiding 2 conkers in the palace. It was somewhere that the assassins would never look. And Lord Vetinari would never think of looking right under his own nose. I hoped. Trouble was, I wanted somewhere inside that was safe. Somewhere suitably hidden. The palace walls were useful for keeping intruders out and keeping the roof in place. Looking closely, I could see the other side of the hole in the wall that I'd seen from inside Leonard's cell. It always looked much easier in the clickies. Hello again, Leonard.
Yes. Hello?
What are you doing?
I'm deeply immersed in a mechanical problem.
Can I help?
It's not likely.
I kept waiting for him to say something else, but he was lost in his work. Right under the patrician's nose. It was just crazy enough to work. Useful though they are. Useful. I've done it. I've found somewhere to hide him.
Where?
Where no one would even think about looking. Somewhere that only the patrician and I know exists, I reckon.
The patrician and you? What if the patrician finds two conkers there?
Two conkers should be able to hide without too much difficulty. Besides, I have a feeling that if Lord Veterinary meets two conkers, he'll have a different take on this situation. He doesn't like to see useful people get killed. Besides, I am sure this is the only place in Ankh-Morpork that he'll be safe from Remora. Is it okay to move him?
He should be okay.
To be feeling much better in thankings.
Sure he's not still delirious?
Sometimes I wonder.
Let's go. Hello again, Leonard.
Hello. I'm afraid I had to go back to the drawing tablet with the spinning blades radiating from central hub. It was too heavy. The device flew all right, but only in a downward trajectory.
That is looking like some kind of fluttering machinery.
Yes, I call it a flapping wing flying device, but it isn't working yet.
May I take a look?
Be my guest.
Are you to be considering the increasings of the wingtitude?
The span of the wings? I considered it, but the weight is still the problem.
What if you be using bombastic wood for the frame?
It hadn't occurred to me that two conkers would have any practical skills, but I guess you didn't carry out complex excavations without learning a thing or two about engineering. I left him to get to know Leonard and hooked up with Ilsa. She had a deal to keep. With two conkers safely hidden away, Ilsa kept her word. She took me straight to the guild and signed me in as her personal guest. Excuse me, can you help me?
That depends on what you want.
I'm new here. I'm just trying to get a feel for the place.
Are you a member?
Not yet.
What's your name?
Lewton.
Laredo Kronk. Pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
The pleasure is all mine.
Of course it is. So you're a guest, are you?
Is that a bad thing?
Only in so much as 8 out of 10 guests who confessed a preference stole something before disappearing.
I'm not going to steal anything, trust me.
No, I think you're wrong. You are going to steal something, but don't worry about it. Almost everything the Guild of Archaeologists owns is stolen, and frankly, they should expect people to steal from them.
Do you steal from them?
Golly, no! I never steal from any building less than 1,000 years old, and with really exciting puzzles.
So, what do you do for a living?
I'm a tomb evacuator.
And what does that involve?
It's a lot of fun. It means breaking into ancient buildings within which no man or woman has walked for thousands of years, apart from whoever it is who leaves all those medical kits, of course, and working my way through fiendish traps and puzzles, and eventually stealing some priceless treasure.
And do you sell the treasure?
Goodness, no! I'm far too well-bred for that. I bring it here, and have to watch as they slam it into a vault that nobody will look in.
A vault?
Forget I said that. Suffice it to say, the Guild of Archaeologists has a priceless collection of artifacts, but no one gets to see them.
Isn't that a waste?
Well, nobody said archaeology was rewarding.
Why do you do it then?
For the excitement, silly, and the fame. Everyone has heard of Laredo Kronk.
I hadn't.
Well, most people have. I was on the front cover of Archaeologists Monthly twice last year.
I don't read it.
Those long words can be so tiresome, can't they?
So, what does a tomb evacuator do?
Nothing special. I break into places where priceless antiquities have been locked away for centuries, overcome the elaborate and convoluted security systems, defeat my rivals, and make away with the treasure. Typical day's work, really.
So, you must be pretty rich then.
Oh, I've got absolutely pots of money. Anyway, the whole thing with the tombs and so on is just a hobby. And of course, it's great for making friends.
What? Among fiendish tomb-guarding monsters?
No, I kill all those. I meant people are always asking me things like, how do you get to the third ledge in the tomb of Tex-Mex cuisine? What's a walkthrough?
Never heard of it.
People are always asking me for one. I hope it's nothing to do with sex.
My mind just boggled. Sorry. Broken into anywhere interesting, have you?
Well, I knocked over the Grand Temple of Offla several times. Such sillies. Every time they get the Tear of Offla back, I take it. It's getting a bit boring recently. Then there's the Catacombs of Genua and the Temple of Anu Anu at Al-Khali. I don't know, it's all a little routine. I'd like to do something new for a change.
Ever thought about retiring?
I'd love to, but the public seem to want me.
You mentioned vaults.
I told you to forget I mentioned that.
I take it all the treasure that people find is kept in vaults under the guild.
I shouldn't discuss that with you since you're only a guest.
Worried I'm going to steal something?
Worried? No. I'm certain you're going to steal something. I just don't care.
Why not?
I'm very philosophical about this sort of thing. It's like I said, everything in the guild is stolen. It seems only fitting that someone else should get to steal it back. Assuming they can overcome the traps, of course.
Do you know a troll by the name of Horst?
Jasper Horst. Yes, I know him. Horst and I go way back. And I don't mean that in a good way.
How do you know Horst?
You could say that he and I are rivals. We have this uncanny habit of turning up in the same place at the same time, looking for the same archaic treasure.
You sound bitter.
Well, I always win, of course. But that doesn't mean I don't resent his interference.
Must keep your life interesting, though.
Perhaps. I could stand a little less excitement in my life, though.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Ah, Mr. Lewton, it is always a pleasure to see you. I trust you have brought something with you that will be to my liking.
I haven't brought you the sword yet, if that's what you mean.
I'm a patient troll, sir, but there are limits to my patience.
A woman named Laredo Crunk is in town. It seems to me that you might know her.
Laredo is here in Ankh-Morpork? Really? I thought that we had dealt with her in the temples of Tezuman. She is full of surprises, that one. Would you do me a favor, sir, as one friend to another?
Perhaps. It depends on the favor.
But of course, your prudence continues to speak well of you. I'd like for you to arrange a meeting with Laredo for me.
It seems as if I'd be doing you a favor. It seems as if I should be getting something in return.
Very well. Arrange this meeting for me, and we can discuss the sword in detail. Do we have an agreement?
Works for me. I'll go give her the news. I can't guarantee she'll turn up, though.
Oh, she'll come. We have much to discuss.
I'll be back to continue our conversation.
And hopefully to seal our deal, sir. I look forward to it.
I'm back.
Apparently so.
I've got a message for you from Horst.
Horst is in Ankh-Morpork.
Absolutely. He wants to meet with you to discuss certain matters arising.
Super.
I have to say that it's probably a trap.
Of course it's a trap. That's what makes it interesting. I'll see you later, Lewton.
Best of luck.
You too.
Laredo made her way over to Horst's quarters and didn't look back. I had no idea what the two had to talk about, but I was sure it would lead to a new and exciting adventure, one even more complex and challenging than her last. For the time being, at least, Laredo was out of the way. I heard a faint click, and the next thing I knew, the fireplace was revolving. I won't bore you with the details of the guild's security system. After all, if you've seen one intricate and fatal collection of pits and traps, you've pretty much seen them all. Suffice to say, it took a lot of trial and error, some scorched eyebrows, and more levers than I could count. I punched away at the runes randomly, but as far as I could tell, nothing happened. Up on the wall of Vault 51 was a sign reading, "Unseen Securities, Magical Alarms, Wards, and Hexes." I guess a place like this needed the best security around. Can we talk, or do I have to play that stupid game again?
Business is slow. We can talk.
Time to excuse myself from the table, I think. Hello again, Warb.
Lewton!
I think this charm bracelet is worth something to you.
Really?
The charms are carved from serendipitous redwood. It's a genuine luck bringer.
Where did you get it? And if it's so lucky, why do you want to give it to me?
It used to belong to Reagan, and I'm not going to give it to you, but I might trade it to you.
Reagan, the dwarf, yeah. I remember seeing him wear it at the tables. Do you think that was why he always won?
I'm no expert, but anything's possible.
You're right. I'm interested. What do you want for it?
What have you got?
I haven't got any money. Actually, I don't think I've got anything of any value to offer at all.
I guess we'll just have to think of something. I have an idea of what you can trade me for the bracelet.
Go on.
You work for Unseen Securities, right?
Yeah.
Well, I need to get into Vault 51 under the Guild of Archaeologists, and you can help me.
No, that's a bad idea. I could get into serious trouble.
Face it, Warb, your life's a mess. You've got nothing to lose. But if this charm bracelet is as good as it seems, it could make a world of difference to you.
Whoa, if they traced a break-in back to me, my life wouldn't be worth living.
In the first place, no one is going to know I broke in. And in the second place, there's no reason they need to trace it back to you. And in the third, your life is already not worth living. What difference is this going to make?
Oh, maybe you're right. All right, I'll do it.
How do I switch off the security system for Vault 51?
I don't know what their watchword is, but all the unseen security systems have a back passage.
What's that?
It's a way to switch them off that only we know about.
What is it?
You'll have to find the rune panel.
What's it look like?
It's a small panel with runes marked on it. You touch the right runes in sequence to switch it off.
What's the sequence for the back passage?
Give me the bracelet first.
Here you are. Now, what's the sequence for the back passage?
Whatever the runes are on the panel, make an X, starting in the top left and finishing in the bottom left. That's the back passage.
A pleasure doing business with you, Warb.
You won't tell anyone about this, will you?
Don't worry. I'm feeling honorable today. Maybe I'll see you later. Just as Warb had told me, I made an X on the control panel. I just hoped he was telling the truth. Vault 51. I couldn't deny it. It made a big impression on me. Not quite as big an impression as some of the traps on the way would have done, but at least the impression it was making wasn't fatal. I worked my way around the vault towards Exhibit 3712V. The troll's tooth scored through the cabinet's glass like an accountant through a rich man's wallet. I smashed the tall nerve into tiny pieces, and inside was the golden sword. Finally, this was it. The artifact that Carlotta, Horst, and who knows how many other people were looking for. Frankly, it was a bit of an anticlimax. I expected it to at least glow a little, or perhaps sing to itself quietly, or hum with the stolen souls of 1,000 men. But it just felt cold and hard in my hand, like any other sword. Suddenly it came over me that everything would go wrong. It sounds crazy, but it's true, so help me. I couldn't hear my footsteps. It was the walk of a dead man. When I made it out of the guild alive, I thought I was home free. But there was something wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew I was in danger. I'm not a suspicious man, but I am a cautious man. I decided then and there to start running, and not look back until my office door was safely locked behind me. But something else had plans for me not to make it that far. I don't know when I first began to suspect that I wasn't dead. I guess it must have been when I realized I was thinking about whether or not I was dead. The anthropomorphic entity with the scythe hadn't turned up, so I figured I was either alive or undead. And it didn't take me long to work out which. I wandered through the streets in a daze, not really knowing what was going on. At first, I couldn't make out any colors. Then gradually the city came alive with vast clouds of pigmentation. Against it all, there was an ever-present mist of bright green, cloying and unpleasant. There was a dissonance about it that I couldn't place, until I realized I was smelling the rank odor of the river Ankh. I was smelling the world in a way I wouldn't have thought possible. Every smell fascinated me. The resonant scents combined into a symphony. Every street was an opera, every lamppost an invitation. I don't know how long I wandered the streets. It's hard to tell which way is up when your world has been turned upside down. I ended up back where I started because I didn't know what else to do. Plus, my coat was in the coffin, and Ankh-Morpork is a bad neighborhood to be caught naked in.
Woof, woof.
I haven't got anything to eat, if that's what you want.
Woof, woof, woof.
I haven't got any idea what's going on either.
Woof, bloody woof.
Hey!
That's pretty sharp. Most people don't catch on to that.
What did you say?
Woof, woof.
You can talk, can't you? I mean, really talk.
Nothing gets past you, does it?
How did you do that?
Well, I can sort of talk.
Nonsense. If there was a talking dog in Ankh-Morpork, I'd have heard about it.
Well, the thing is, most people don't seem to notice it.
Yeah, right. Like you wouldn't notice a talking dog.
Seems like people only see what they expect to see.
How philosophical of you.
I just calls them as I see them.
So how come I can tell you can talk?
I don't claim to understand it, I just do it.
Do you know what's happened to me?
I'm guessing you didn't know you were a werewolf till you woke up this morning.
I'm a werewolf. That explains what's happening to me. I thought somebody slipped something into my embalming fluid.
First order of business is to train you up then.
Hold it right there. I don't need your help.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Look at yourself. What's your name?
Lewton. I'm a private investigator. Well, I was. Then I was dead. Then I was, well, a werewolf, I suppose. I guess I spoke too soon. Maybe I do need your help. What's your name?
Gaspode the Wonder Dog.
The Wonder Dog?
Hey, don't knock the name. I was named after the famous Gaspode.
Never heard of him.
Most people haven't. He belonged to an old man in Ankh many years ago. When the old man died and was buried, Gaspode lay down on his grave and howled for a couple of weeks, growling at anyone who came near. Then he died.
And they called him the Wonder Dog because he was such a paragon of doggy faithfulness and loyalty.
Until they discovered that his tail had been trapped under the stone, yeah.
How do you think I became a werewolf?
Well, presumably you got bit by a werewolf.
Bitten?
Right. Lesson 1. Don't correct me grammar. All right?
Sorry.
Okay. Well, once I've trained you, I suggest that the first thing you do is try and work out how you got infected.
Infected?
With lycanthropy. It's the blood disease that werewolves have. Now, since you don't have any cubhood memories of romping with your pack, I reckon it's a safe bet that you got infected somehow.
So someone I know is a werewolf.
Give the wolf a cigar.
So can I change between being a wolf and a man at will?
Sort of. There's a certain way the change works.
The change?
There's 2 things you've got to learn about being a werewolf. The nose and the change.
The nose?
Yeah, the nose. Werewolves have a unique perception of the world, a different point of smell.
I've noticed that. I can see scents as colours, and they have a certain feel about them too.
Those colours are unique. Each smell has its own signature colour. So you can tell whether or not someone has been somewhere by whether or not you can see their scent there.
Even as a man?
No, only when you're a wolf.
And how do I switch between forms?
That's what the change is all about. It's a skill you've got to learn how to do. Now, you've already used it to turn into a wolf. Soon, you'll be able to change whenever you wanna.
How did I change this time if I didn't know how?
That's the other thing about the change. You have to change at the full moon. I guess that's what brought this on in the first place. Other times, it's voluntary.
So can I change now?
Give it a try.
At first I didn't know what to do, but Gaspode talked me through it. Then, when I could see the world in all its psychedelic glory, Gaspode started teaching me about the nose.
You look around, tell me what you see, as a wolf.
There's a lot of colours.
Phew. I can see how you became a private investigator. You get a lot more information about scents with your werewolf senses. You can see them as colours.
I can see a mist of bright green surrounding everything. And there's something that looks like a long stream of purplish-red cloud with some tiny fluorescent greenish-yellow-purple specks in it. Also, there's a ground fog of some kind of unpleasant blue.
Well, the bright green is the stench of the River Ankh. No mistake in that. That long stream of cloud sounds like the scent of someone having gone through the cemetery recently. Does it smell like a privy carpet?
No, it smells like Carlotta, but with less treble.
Well, it wasn't me then. I guess I'm the ground fog of unpleasant bloom.
Who was it?
I don't know who it was, but it was someone.
I can't see my own scent.
Well, that's normal. You're so used to being around it that it's invisible to you. And that's handy for me, what with my stench and all.
So I can follow the purplish scent to find this person.
If you want, and assuming you don't lose the trail, other smells eventually drown scents out, especially out on the streets.
What about the coruscating dots?
What's it like?
It's like flashing green, yellow, purple.
Is it like mature mould with an earthy echo?
No.
It's not you then? Dunno what it is. See where else you find it and you might be able to work out what it is.
According to Gaspode, I could learn a lot from comparing different scents. I figured that could come in handy in my line of work. Assuming I could change back to being human, that is. I gave it my best shot.
Nicely done.
I learnt from a master.
Right, that's about it. Apart from the full moon, you can be whatever you want to be. But as of the full moon, you're sniffing lampposts with the rest of us.